Welcome to Straight from the Source with Hayley Watts. Our guest today is Mayor David Pittman with the City of Oroville. Welcome, Mayor. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Hayley, and I appreciate the invitation.
So we were just chatting about getting recognized in the community, right? Because city leaders, it's interesting. I know you so well. I know your face. You're one of our first calls when there's something going on in Oroville. But I'm always curious how many people come out to city council meetings. Like, how many people do you actually engage with as a representative of your city?
Well, you got to remember, local government's all about local people delivering local services.
Yeah.
So, as I was born and raised there, I have an obvious knowledge base of a lot of the population. But now we have a new population in town. And it's really, I think, gratifying to see people interested in dealing with city government. And sometimes they bring us really good ideas.
Tell me more about this new population. Like, what kind, are you noticing more families or people from big cities moving to a more rural lifestyle? What do you think's changing?
Well, we've had a great growth in the affordable housing, affordable senior population.
Okay.
And those structures have added some folks, obviously, to our community, which is a great thing. And I think one of the things we're seeing is, and it's a little sad statement, but the single parent and 2 kids is a real large population in our affordable family market that we have. And so they like to go grocery shopping. They like to, come around and enjoy the community. Thankfully, right now, the city is improving one of our parks right now. Hewitt Park is getting a huge major redo.
Yeah.
And that'll be a great place for kids to grow and have that, physical activity outside of the home, and where the parents will, happily take the kids there and wear them out and get them tired to take them home and go to rest. Yeah.
So you're talking about more affordable housing. I've noticed that there have been these developments that we've gone to the ribbon cuttings for. Mm-hmm. Is this mostly like new state rules that would basically say you could get some grant funding if you included affordable housing, or is it a requirement, or is it what?
Well, all cities in the state of California have what they call RENA numbers. We're supposed to have so many housing per capita. Mm-hmm. It happens that Oroville has met the RENA numbers very well, but I want to give credit to the Housing Authority, County of Butte, which is the partnership in building and putting those projects together. And they've done many, many new projects since the campfire, probably in the order of 2,500 to 3,000 more, but all over Butte County. Oroville's an order of about 1,000 new apartments, which is a big change for Oroville. We hadn't seen any new apartments in decades.
Yeah.
So it's a big change, but at the same time, we have the infrastructure to support it. The big question is how we help to develop. Every city loves to have its neighborhoods. And in Oroville, we really cherish our south side Oroville. We cherish our Thermalito part of Oroville. We cherish all those East Oroville. And we're trying to really build on that idea to emphasize and help those neighborhoods become even stronger. And we're seeing that with the availability of real estate. We have real estate for, right now, market rate homes. And that's one of the focuses the city is looking for, to encourage those developers to come to town and invest in market rate housing.
Okay. I've heard some people say that their concern with affordable housing, lower income housing, essentially could be linked in some way to more crime. Is that something you've observed? Not
at all. In fact, I will give huge credits to our police department. Our new police chief has done a wonderful job. We just filled all our vacant positions about a month ago, and that hasn't happened for over 10 years. So we hope to deliver as much and more police services as possible. You know, if you don't really have a safe, secure community, you might as well throw in the towel and say, forget it.
Yeah.
And Chief Wines has done a wonderful job. He's got a fantastic crew of people that are really stepping up and delivering that service. I don't really see that new population as problematic. Because they're all good people, and most of the housing is people that have a job or working. They work in a restaurant or they work somewhere in service-related industries, and they can't afford to buy a house. Yeah. So now the rental incomes provide them at least a decent place to live and raise their kids.
Now, the current police chief, Jason Wines, is he still technically interim, or that's been made official?
He was interim in retirement. And then he chose to step out of his retirement, and he accepted a multi-year contract with us, and we're very happy.
When did this happen?
Oh, about the first of the year.
I feel like, okay, so it's funny because I was trying to get him to come be a guest on this podcast. He has yet to take me up on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like he was saying at the time, like, well, I'm still the interim, and so, you know, maybe not. And so maybe we reported it, and it's just...
Well, it happened pretty quickly because
Yeah.
it was like one meeting. He talked about it at a public meeting, and I was sitting there. It was a Rotary meeting, I think, and I said, "Did he just say what I heard him say?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, he did, and he had to talk with his family, and he got family buy-in on it, and so he is just the guy you really want to have in a small town community police department, and he's got not just the street knowledge of law enforcement, but we've added what I call Officer Flock. Officer Flock is doing a wonderful job.
Oh, that's the camera system that you can move around, huh?
It's just like having a whole bunch of officers all over town.
So this is one, okay, for people who haven't heard of this Flock machine, it's essentially like a trailer, right? You can hook it up and move it.
Well, we have the trailer, but we also have fixed cameras.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
How many fixed cameras are there?
A lot.
A lot, okay. Now, these are, just so people know, they're not like red light cameras, right?
No,
they're looking for
They're
bad
looking
guys.
for license plates.
Yeah, okay.
And they identify vehicles by descriptions. License plate is a big thing. And so what happens if you steal a car in Oroville, or you're driving a car that's stolen through Oroville, we're pretty much going to know about it, and then we shared with our other agencies the ability to capture that. So our stolen vehicle numbers have dropped dramatically.
Okay.
And also the other side of it, we're helping other agencies capture those stolen vehicles that come through our town.
Okay, so you have a plate number for a stolen vehicle, right?
Right.
And it's entered into the system. Is there like a dispatcher, like a human who monitors it, or those cameras will just be programmed to look for it?
If it's a specific number, the system will let us know where and when.
Okay.
And we don't have to put someone in front of it.
Is there like a backup or anything? So say I'm driving around, I'm going in and out of Oroville, and then next year I'm a suspect in some crime. Can they pull the records and say, okay, well, you can see last year she spent a lot of time in Oroville?
There is a time period on the backup. I'm not sure how far that goes back, but I will tell you, I got the opportunity to sit in one of the trainings when we upgraded recently. You mentioned the Flock upgrade. And I sat there with 15 police officers, and what really impressed me, not just the Flock system itself, but the young officers' interest in using that tool to make sure they solve whatever crime they're assigned. That was really encouraging to me, because you can have new technology walk in the door, but maybe people like it or reject it. I saw those officers say, hey, this is going to help me do my job. Yeah. And I really was encouraged by that, and I got to say also to Jason and his lieutenants and his sergeants, he's doing a wonderful job cultivating that, because we have a very high activity number, just because we haven't grown our city in terms of more police stations and those kind of things. So it's really very high activity. So if you come to Oroville as a public safety officer, you're going to get a fair amount of activity across the board, and I think that's what Jason is really acknowledged with it. In fact, he's really busy. I'm not surprised he hasn't made your podcast, because he's on it every day of the night, and it's almost like around the clock activity, and it's really nice to see, and it also leads to that local service delivery of a safe, secure community.
Okay. When it comes to AI in policing and in public safety in general, I mean, it seems like you think that at least what's been implemented in Oroville is helpful, right? It's not harmful in any sort of way. Do you have any concerns about down the line if we see more AI and new technology? Like, could people lose their jobs, or could there be some oversight that like a human would pay better attention to?
I think AI is, we've actually started some training with our city staff on AI, and there has been helpful events like analyzing requests for proposal, bid proposals. You might get 10 or 15, and it might be a long 30, 40-page document. Well, AI is extremely helpful in that process, so cuts our staff time down to a more reasonable amount. I don't think it's going to replace anyone. I look at AI just like when the punch typewriter went to electric typewriter.
Right.
It's a new tool.
Right.
It is not without mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't rely on it to be 100%. It doesn't have all that factual knowledge, and I don't think it'll actually replace any person, because someone has to operate it. Someone has to key it in. Someone has to ask the question.
Right. Oh, that's funny. I remember my dad was a lawyer. He worked from home when I was growing up, and
Yeah.
I loved when he would take time off. I could play on his typewriter, and like the backspace was just like a little whiteout thing.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
so funny that in our lifetime, how
Right.
much has changed.
Yeah, and it's just a new tool.
Yeah.
I know people are, it's like when microwave ovens came out,
Yeah.
where, oh, we can't use those, they're all kinds of dangerous things. Well, now it's a standard. I think the tool is going to be useful for everyone across the board. It makes us more efficient and effective. I don't really see in any situation where you're going to see positions lost from it. I think you'll see the positions enhanced. And in terms of public safety, I think a better delivery of service.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I read something maybe this morning about when it comes to firefighting, like they used to have people man the watchtowers, and there's
Right.
still a few left, and I think
Oh, sure.
somebody just retired a few days ago out of maybe the Butte Meadows area,
Yeah.
and everyone was concerned, well, if that person's not there, who's gonna watch?
Right.
It's like, well, those cameras are 360, right? I mean, do you think that that's probably the best plan, is to replace humans when possible?
I think it's what happens is now you don't just have the one camera eye.
Yeah.
I know I was down at the PG&E hazards facility, and that's where they have a 60-foot wall of monitors all over Northern California.
Yeah.
So when the fire department gets the alert, they also get the alert. So the utility company gets it at the same time, or I think it's 6 seconds behind the fire department alert. I mean, it was fascinating that all the cameras are getting networked together. So it's far more efficient to be able to get all the services out there, because the fire department goes there, then you got to call the utility company. Well, now no, you don't have to. They're alerted. So
Right.
having that person up there in the tower, you could replace them, but you can also make it better.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this: I know a lot of folks that have worked the tower before, and it's always amazed me that they stay up there during a lightning storm.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, that's a little nervous. So maybe down the road, it's going to be a little safer for people to have to not be there in that exposure issue.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think of the safety of our safety officials in terms of a
Right.
lot of this technology, like police officers getting to use drones, right, to
Right.
send them into a place where otherwise it would be a body or a canine, which, could be injured as well.
Well, a good
So-
example of drones are, we had a big problem in one of our surface drains. It was a large fire that was inside them, and there was a lot of spillage and damages in there and hazardous materials. Well, we couldn't send anybody in there because it was so far in. Well, we got a drone that came in, and we flew the pipes with a drone.
Wow.
And it told us everything we needed
Yeah.
to know. So there's another use of the enhancement of technology to make life safer.
When was there a fire in a drain in Oroville?
Well, it wasn't too long ago. They had some homeless had put in some furniture, and it was a large 8-foot diameter culvert.
Yeah.
And it caught fire, and it spread, and we had smoke coming out of every drain inlet all around the area, and it caused quite a commotion. And the fire department could put it out, but then it became a confined space area and actually a hazardous material entry area. And even to put the fire out, the guys had to wear hazmat suits. So then the next follow-up is, well, how much damage did it do, and can we send personnel in there? Well, it becomes a confined space entry issue. It just opens up a whole nother door of things. So luckily, I think there was a fire department that was able to get a drone to run through and check all the drains. So now the future says, gee, we're going to do our drain checks with drones instead of having people walk through there.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I was in the same culvert pipe, and we had a small fire in there, and it turns out it was a gasoline leak from a nearby gas station. Their plumbing was leaking into the drain pipe. And I didn't realize it, but I was standing in a pool of gasoline at the same time, and it was too rich to burn.
Yeah.
So I think back, it's not a bad idea to use new technology.
Was this when you were fire chief?
I was back in the fire department. I worked at the fire department for 35 years, so we were
all city of Oroville.
Yep.
Your whole career.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that experience, like when you initially decided to join, why city fire, what was
Well,
it
I
like
got
for
hooked
you?
in it in the actual Boy Scout Explorer program, and then volunteered for a while. I went to school. My certificate's in automotive technology, and then that translated into the fire department, taking care of the apparatus and fire mechanic duties. And then just the knowledge of dealing with the community, and it's still a very high active department, but we were very focused on delivery of service And you got to know your customers quite well, and sometimes you have the repeat customer. But the enjoyment of just delivering service to helping people out during the times when it was a tragic thing. And then I've also served on incident management teams and worked on incidents most all over California, up in Montana for a month for a while. So I had a varied experience in it. And unique thing about Oroville is we don't have any shortage of experience. I mean, we had a train derailment there that was right there at Mitchell Avenue. We had 27 cars all stacked up like cordwood that ran into each other.
Gosh, when was this?
That was about the 77, 78.
Wow.
And it was right next to the cannery, and it actually destroyed one of the buildings for the cannery. That's why they have a new building.
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting call. And just a lot of different calls over the years. And sometimes you'll have that call that you just can't realize that could have happened. And it was an older couple downtown in the old area. And we went inside, and the 80-year-old lady in a wheelchair says, "You need to go up there in the attic and check on old Sam." Sam went up there, and I don't know why he did. It had one of these turbine ventilators that was spinning around and squeaking.
Yeah.
And it was a hot summer day, and the attic must have been 110 degrees. So he went up there to fix it. He hasn't come back yet. So I'll never forget Lee went up there and went up and looked, and he says, "Ma'am, sorry, but your husband passed away.
Oh.
It was too hot."
Yeah.
So her immediate response is, "Well, it serves him right. I told him not to go up there."
Oh my gosh.
So you can't make that up. I mean, this is
no.
yeah. So he was almost 90 years old, and
Yeah.
she said it was his time. But you have hundreds of stories like that you have in the delivery of service, and
Right.
every fireman has that, whether you're volunteer, paid, whatever, and that's part of the uniqueness of the job, to be able to deliver service at times when people really need it.
Right. Right. Man, what a reaction. I mean, I get annoyed at my husband sometimes too, and he doesn't listen to me,
There you go.
but I can't imagine having that reaction.
Oh, it was hard for the guys there, because you really wanted to laugh, but you didn't want to laugh
Right.
at his passing. So
Right.
we went back to
Oh
the fire
my gosh.
station and
Laughed
got
a little
away.
later.
Yeah.
So are you married?
Oh, yeah, not right now, but I am divorced, and I have a partner right now, Susan.
Okay.
She's a wonderful part of the life, and she works at Enloe, and she has 2 sons. One is living down in Temecula. He's a lineman with Southern Cal Edison, and he has 4 kids. And then my 3 kids live close here. My oldest daughter, she's a school teacher for CORE, and my other daughter is a RN down at Marin Healthcare. And my son's an iron worker for a steel company in town that erects iron all over the place.
Nice. Okay, so you have family in town and also some kids who are outside of the area. Do you get to spend much time out, like in Marin or like other California cities?
Yeah, families are all kind of spread out, so we get together. I will say that I just had my 70th birthday, and they all surprised me on Easter, and all showed up, and it was very nice, because really, they hadn't been like 10 years. They'd all been in the same room. It was a big group and grandkids and everything. So that was a very nice surprise, and I appreciate that. And just, the fun part about the kids being in and growing up here. My oldest granddaughter is at Berkeley right now, going to school, and then my second granddaughter, she's at Chico State, and we still have some kids in high school right now. And my youngest granddaughter, she's in the dance class over here at Chico. So
nice.
It's busy, and you have to schedule everything out, because everybody's got something going on.
Yeah. Did you, when you retired, right, from the fire department, did you think, okay, now I get to, kick back and relax, or were you just like, nope, all right, on to the next thing?
I have a saying that I say to most of my fellow firemen: you want to retire to something.
Yes.
You don't want to just be from that. And I kind of stepped into politics. My family life, my dad was a politician for about 18 years. He served as a city councilman, a county supervisor, and then a state senator. So in my teenage, 10 to 14 age, I spent a lot of time in the state capitol as a page, just running around helping Dad out. And that was back in the days when the bill room was a hard copy piece of paper, and there was no electronic transfer of anything. So you'd get a call, hey, go down to the bill room and run up to Assemblyman Jones' office and deliver the paperwork. So I got a chance to run around the Capitol as a young teenager, and I kind of know the ins and outs, and met a lot of people. I didn't know who Pat was. Pat was Pat Brown, the governor at the
Okay,
time.
yeah.
So it was a neat, unique experience for myself. But my dad's senatorial district was only Butte County. It was back before reapportionment. So, and then my dad's big project was the Oroville Dam. He was president of the Feather River Project Association, which advocated for the dam. So I grew up in that world of construction of the dam. Every Sunday we'd take his car and go through the construction site and visit whatever's going on in terms of the construction and how it was being built. I have a ridiculous amount of unique trivia about that whole process. So my institutional memory is very visual to what happened during that process.
You know, what is your memory of that day back in, gosh, what was it, 2016, I think? The day that we all saw the video of the water shooting off the spillway.
Oh, the spillway collapse.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I live in a home that I can actually see the spillway directly. And I was just noticing something was wrong. And I drove up to the dam and going across it. And I started seeing chunks of concrete flying off the hillside. I'm going, that doesn't look right.
You drove up there when you were seeing this and you didn't think run for your life?
Well, no, because we're on top of it.
Right, right.
But what I did see is a lot of folks up there with a deer in the headlight looked like, what do we do now?
Yeah,
you know,
it was scary.
It was not anything ever contemplated. And there it is now. The state, I think, responded as adequately as they could to such a disaster.
Right.
All of us were thinking about quick ways to repair it,
Right.
like welding steel plates over it, all kinds of things. But I think that's one of the unique things that you could look at the Oroville and basically the Butte County population. We've been through a lot of stuff, and so whatever disaster comes our way, I think we're kind of prepared for it. And that spillway issue was a significant issue for a lot of reasons, and everybody seemed to work along. We have a tremendous amount of partnerships in Oroville. And I would say that's the strength of our community, and between Butte County, state parks, Department of Water Resources, Fish and Game, you know, U.S. Forest Service, we all have great partnerships. So when the call comes out in '97, we had the flood issue that I don't think you were around for that, but we had to evacuate all of downtown Oroville.
97?
97. It was just around New Year's Eve. And we had very high water flows, and we pulled the pin and said to evacuate, and about 12,000 people downtown left in 4 hours. So that was kind of a little precursor to being able to get things done in a hurry. That was a very high water flow that caused a lot of concerns. So one of the things, I was evacuation coordinator at the time with the fire department, and we had to go back and check to make sure everybody was out. And the most valuable people for that were the PG&E meter readers.
Oh.
Because they go around and read everybody's meter, they know where everybody is. And I had 12 of them volunteer to go around our evacuation area and make sure that we got everybody out.
Wow.
So you never know who's going to be able to help you.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of partnerships, I'm told that the DWR never really re-signed a licensing deal for the Oroville Dam itself and for operations of the reservoir there with Oroville or with Butte County. Do you feel like Oroville's kind of getting its fair share of hosting this reservoir there?
Well, what you're talking about is the relicensing of the FERC price with 2,100, and it's 18 years now.
Okay, 18 years that it's been expired.
Well, not more than expired. We actually had an agreement in 2006 called the Supplemental Benefits Fund, and that agreement was to put things in place for us all, for the whole entire community. But FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is still sitting on the application to issue the license. If the license is issued, then there'll be money flowing for not just Oroville, but many, many projects that are required in the new license. That's where it sits in FERC. They really have to, you know, perform and do their job. And we've been sitting around waiting for it. So
shouldn't like a state assembly member be advocating about this or something?
Oh, we have all our legislators advocating, but we're stuck with, there's 5 FERC commissioners, and I'll give credit to our city administrator, Brian Ring, right now. Ever since he's been on the job, he emails them every Friday.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, just to keep up. And the latest thing they said to him, which you got a response, which our DWR folks, did they respond to you? Are you kidding? What did they say?
Okay. So it's not DWR's fault?
No, and at this point, no, it's FERC's fault.
It's not the state legislatures, it's not
State
the county
legislature
or the
can't
city.
do anything with it. Yeah.
Everybody's waiting on FERC. And for you said since 2006 or 18 years?
Well, yeah, 2006 is when we signed the Supplemental Benefits Fund, which was the agreement to have the license reissued.
Okay.
And the license was a 50-year. It expired, I think, in 2007.
Okay.
Or was it expired? So we started negotiations 4 years before that.
Okay.
So we got a deal. We thought it was great. I'm saying we, the city, and other parties. In fact, the Supplemental Benefits Fund contract has 50-some signatures to it. Every regulatory and environmental body in California.
Right.
You know, you don't get that happen anymore.
Yeah.
And because FERC has to issue the power license, in the late 70s, beyond the power license, they added a recreational component.
Right.
So they have all these things that have to be mitigated out. And the DWR had the responsibility to mitigate all these things. The last thing they're telling us, or the last word we got, was the mitigation or the application, they're reviewing it, and they want to make sure that the endangered species mitigations list that the application was presented, it matches to the current endangered species list.
Okay, so what do we do?
That's
What endangered species have changed?
Well,
they're figuring it out.
they're figuring
So they're
it out.
they're just saying, hey, we need more time
Well,
to figure this out.
I-
You can't just take don't they have an AI tool that they could just run it through ChatGPT or something? Do these endangered species lists
Can I nominate
match?
you for a FERC position?
This is wild.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's sad in some respects because FERC was only, when it was issued back in the 50s, Project 2100 was just a power license. That's
Okay.
all it was, that's
Yeah.
all it had to do with. And then since then, the rules changed and we came back to this new process. Believe me, it's not an easy process to explain. I'm really summarizing
Yeah.
and compacting this in a very short period of time, but we would love to see that, issued so that some of these projects that are planned, there's about $1 billion worth of expenses that come with that license issuance. They've got to improve the fish in the Feather River.
Okay.
We have about $50 million that'll go through what we have as a special committee for economic and recreational projects along the Feather River. Everybody's got something going on in that deal.
Right.
And in fact, the DWR has a team of about a dozen people that are waiting to take care of the PM&Es, which are prevention, mitigation, and enhancements, post the issuance of the license. The license has to be issued, and then all this flows.
So what if the license were issued, what would just the city of Oroville specifically, what would the benefit be maybe on an annual basis?
Well, it was supposed to be about $1 million a year
Okay.
to be paid through this committee for local projects
Okay.
for 50 years.
Right, and that's just the city. There are other
Well,
beneficiaries
not
as well.
the city, it's the city and the recreation
Got
district through what's called the Supplemental Benefits
Okay.
Fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people can write to FERC if they're concerned.
Please do. I would love FERC
Yeah.
to do the job. We are the longest writing potential renewal of any of the projects that FERC
Wow.
is dealing with. And I've dealt with many
Yeah.
reporters digging into it, and we had one coming. It's just gone on too long.
Yeah. Wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get back more to things that we have more control over.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing that Oroville now has a pallet shelter right through Mission Esperanza.
Correct.
How are things going with that?
They are pretty much got past their initial few days of working out the bugs and everything. I heard from Susie the other day, who's one of the coordinators. They're probably getting ready for a bigger grand opening. They kind of work out the bugs on how they're intake people and take care of them and deal with it. It's a little different facility because it has 24-hour security. If you leave, you come back, you have to go through security. And it has a navigation point of about 1 to 2 hours.
Okay.
So you just don't get to walk in and grab a pallet shelter.
Yeah.
And you have to graduate to a pallet shelter.
Okay.
So they have a very good thing. The rescue mission has been doing this for 50 years for us. So we use them as their operator to operate things. And the Esperanza and the rescue mission are side by side. They've combined, now they're known as the Oroville Resource Center.
Oh, okay.
As a name. But we're looking forward to that, helping out the target population that the grant requires. They're working on. I don't know the numbers going in yet, but I know that there has been considerable progress made in their startup time and those things. And it's very difficult to build a type of shelter because it's kind of a one-on-one type of thing.
Yeah.
We had a lot of infrastructure issues, and I want to say our partners helped radically. The Lake Oroville Public Utility District provides the sewer collection there. We had many things to change there. PG&E came and helped us with a utility hookup that wasn't planned for. So we've had little hiccups, and I got to say our partnerships in the community really helped out.
Okay, so I don't know how you characterize the extent of homelessness being an issue in Oroville, but it sounds like things are getting better in terms of solutions, right? More affordable housing you talked about. We have pallet shelter available, as well as just the Good News Rescue Mission, like the beds there.
Right.
Are there people in the community who you call service resistant?
There is that in this particular population, and I mention it to many people because that's really the group that becomes the problematic. The people that truly want and ask for service can be helped. The one thing I should mention about the Oroville Resource Center, they're really set up as a transitional housing. From the day one walking in there, their goal is to have you in your own house. So because they have the shelters, they have things in place that you have at least a decent place to go through the recovery process. And that's what I have to give them compliments to. And I'll never forget, I used to sit with Steve and Ann Terry. They were the operators for years, and we had this idea of how this is going to happen. And I said, well, from the fire service, we got to give it a name. And she quickly popped up and says Esperanza House, which means help.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And help and hope. So that's kind of where this is going to go. And we hope to see the service-resistant folks, finally accept service. Some states have asked the states to help them with some rules and laws that can deal with that particular population.
Right.
That when they resist services, then something has to happen, because we just can't let them live in a shopping cart on the street anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's a curious thing, right? When somebody chooses not to go to take help, right? But I mean, we can only speculate, and it's obviously case by case. One individual who's service resistant probably has a different reason than the next individual, right?
Totally, yes.
But it seems like some of those people, maybe if they had help with whether it be addiction or a mental health issue or something, that maybe they would change their mind about being service resistant. But like, how do you get them to take that first step, right, toward recovery?
And that's where the rescue mission and the Esperanza staff are very good at doing that. They have a lot of background experience in dealing with it, and they kind of have the key points that'll help.
But if somebody doesn't want to go, walk in the door, you can't make them, right?
You can't make them, but that's where I hope that the state might give us some tools to help.
You could at least say, well, you have to, or you can't stay here on the street.
Yeah, and I know the drug court has come back now. The drug court might be a way to help with that process.
Is that Prop 36 or?
I'm not sure if it's in 36 or not, but I know our drug court here in Butte County is active, and they were part of the little ribbon cutting ceremony we had not too long ago. So we're hoping to use that as a process, and maybe the drug court can help. I remember Daryl Stevens used to run a very active drug court many years ago before the rules changed. And in his case, he had the ability to put you in jail for a year or go through the program in 4 months and not have to be in jail.
Right.
So, they got to have some hooks to deliver that service. Hopefully the drug court can do the same thing, and you got to just get them off the street. I mean, what's happened is we've allowed them to come to a point where they're camping anywhere. They're ruining in fact, we have a big issue with our river. When they camp along the Feather River right now during the spawning season, and they throw their debris, like we were on a floating classroom the other day, and they threw a big carpet in there. Well, that just killed probably 10,000 salmon eggs. Yeah. So we can't have that happening, and especially in that section of the Feather River, there's one species of salmon only exists here in the world. So the city council went together with a letter and requested the governor's help to make some kind of special designation or help with the agencies to make sure we can't allow camping in that area, that people are just throwing debris in, and it's ruining the salmon population.
Although don't tell FERC about this particular salmon, because they're going to, tack on another decade.
Well, we've already talked to them about that. In fact, our big problem was the green, what's the big fish called? there was a fish that was out by the Afterbay outlet, and that was a big problem for a while.
Okay.
So we've had to mitigate many things
Yeah.
over the period of time, and the application is a huge document. But once they issue the document, then everything it gets done.
So I took you on a sidebar there, but with the letter that you sent to the governor about basically the Feather River being trashed, what are you hoping that the state comes in and does about it? Or
anything they can help us out. I mean, I know Fish and Game is wanting to help. CHP actually has authority in the river as a law enforcement.
Well, like under the state, okay, so, you know, Chico got sued, of course, and that made, while everything was pending out in the courts,
right.
I think that a lot of cities were just like, let's wait and see, let's not really clear out homeless camps. But then the Supreme Court ruled and basically said,
Grants Pass.
Yeah, it's not cruel and unusual to ask that people to move along.
Right.
So, I mean, now will the police department basically, if somebody's camping on a city property, will they just move the homeless camp and say, here's where the shelter is, you don't have to go, but you can't stay here?
Oh, we're doing that already.
You're doing it?
Yeah, we have a very active code enforcement team, and they are actually clearing out, I'm going to say 20 to 25 camps a month.
Yeah.
And they've done a wonderful job with that process. But they also get coordination with the public works team, the law enforcement team, mental health, or the county has a community navigator. So it's not just we're shoving them along the road.
Yeah.
We go out, we have contact, we help to develop a reason why they're there, and we have some programs to get them off the camp area. In fact, if someone at the other side, say they traveled here from Florida, and if someone on the other side in Florida as a family member will take care of them, we'll pay their bus ticket.
Okay.
So there's a lot of little niches that are going on here, and Ronnie Belser is our department head for code enforcement. He's done a wonderful job with their crews, and a camp doesn't get to last more than a month.
Yeah.
And they're addressed. The problem is it's a continuing common denominator work that we have to do every month.
Right.
And it's hopefully it'll go away one day, but we're going to need some tools in the laws that help us deal with that population.
Okay. What do you think the biggest misconception might be about Oroville?
That we're not a fun place to be. I mean, we have 5 big lakes, and a river runs through it.
Yeah.
And they're all public lakes. We have a lot of hiking and trail around. The Brad Freeman Trail is 40-some miles. We're just kind of off the radar, and frankly, we've done a poor job selling ourselves. But at the same time, everybody that's there is very happy and enjoying life. You can ride. And one of the things we're trying to do is upgrade all the parks so that everybody has complete enjoyment. Because all you have to do is have one bad experience in a park, and you won't ever go back. So I know Jason has a plan for some of his officers to be a park patrol kind of thing, and developing that. Appearances there, that's the best deterrence for those kind of things. So I think that just you don't realize how comfortable and safe it is to live. One of my markings is if a young lady has no problem going to a gas station late at night and filling up her gas tank, that tells me that it's okay. But
And do you think that's the case?
we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yes, we're getting there. I think that's a benchmark that I like to see. And then the other one is to see the criminal activities especially to our business community reduced.
Right.
Nothing's worse than having someone lay in front of your door and you as a businessman say, hey, you need to move, and my customers are running away, and then that person comes back and break your windows out.
I mean, and that has to be changing a little bit now that the state
It
laws
is
changed.
a little bit, but our big help is we have what's called the municipal law enforcement officers that are part of the police department. And they will go by early in the mornings before the business opens and alert that person so the business owner's not having to do that. Because then if they get mad at the police officer, there's no reprisal. And I can't tell you how many times in the past that happened. And many big pane windows, that's their profit margin for the month.
Yeah.
So we're trying to help out business as best we can with that activity. And then we have a new 311 system we just implemented actually last week. So if you see something on the street and it's not an emergency basis, but say a couch, you dial 311 or put it on your phone, and you locate it. There's a map. You can tell where it is and what it is, and then it'll get routed to the right department, and then they'll send you back an email letting you know when it was taken care of.
Okay.
A good example is potholes.
Yeah.
We just had a recent rain, and potholes appeared. I got to say, I turned in a pothole with the 311 system, and it was filled before the end of the day.
Did they know it was you reporting?
I don't think they did. I used my other email, so I don't think it was me.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
we saw that as a great system because many times a constituent will call a councilman to try to get something fixed, and our council is very responsive. I mean, they don't hold back, but at the same time, how many times can you take a councilman's call when we don't know how many other people they called?
Right.
Or 311 coordinates all those calls into one. Staff in the morning sees what their workload for the day.
Yeah.
Whoever is supposed to handle it, and it's across the board. Everything the city does, you can 311 it.
Right.
And that we saw as a very valuable tool because then it kind of puts an efficiency and effectiveness to getting things from a tree trim to a garbage can on the street to a couch left somewhere, all those kind of things. They're very worthy to be taken care of, but we only have so many people to take care of them.
Right.
And I think the 311, and I have to give credit to my youngest sister. We're driving around San Francisco and she saw a chair on the street, says, I'll just call 311. And I looked at it, I said, what in the world's 311? Well,
Oh, okay. So that's where the idea came
yeah, that's where it came out. I
Yeah.
said, well, let's see what it'll
I love
do.
it. Yeah.
And other cities have it too. And we went through a process, a request for proposals, and the staff picked out this one. And the staff has really worked hard on it to make sure it's going to work for all the needs that are out there. Because many times people come to City Hall and want to get something done. Well, if the right person is there, you don't know. But 311 at least puts a nice communication back and forth and lets you know that it was taken care of.
Okay. Aside from what we've discussed so far, are there any things that you're really hoping to accomplish in your time as mayor before you say, okay, I've done enough?
Yeah. I think the exciting thing is the energy systems that are coming to town. One company called BRE, Butte Renewable Energy, will be putting in a energy production facility here, and then the city is going to form its own public utility, and they'll be supplying electrical energy to our big commercial customers in town.
So, okay, the city is going to, is this the partnership that would also be with the Butte County and maybe the city of Chico for having its own utility, or this will be kind of like what Reading has, like its own utility?
This would be a little bit like Reading has,
Okay.
its own utility to power within our jurisdiction,
Okay.
not to be sold outside the market
Okay.
at this point. And BRE is actually one of 3 companies coming to town, but BRE right now is the head of the game in terms of timing.
Is it biomass? Like they're burning
They'll get
stuff
to that.
clear?
Their first thing is to put in, and they just received an application to put in 100 acres of solar panels.
Oh, okay.
And that's going to be over our Copper Superfund site, which is a property that you really can't use the property for anything else.
Okay.
So,
it's city property?
No, it's in the city's jurisdiction, but it's
Got it.
privately owned. But they're going to put 100 acres of solar panels, and that'll be the first part of the energy production. They're going to have a battery backup to that, and then while that's in place and running probably within the year, then their biomass plant will be coming in and replacing the old. We have an old one at the Oroville Pacific Power site on South Fifth Avenue. They're going to tear that old thing out, put in their brand new one, and their biomass is really high tech. I mean, it's on top of the world. And they're mostly out of Europe. And so we ask them, when you come here, are you worried about our air quality rules? It says, we're from England. You don't even know what air quality rules are.
Yeah.
So they have no problem in meeting our things, and they're starting to talk with our folks here.
Yeah.
But our city staff has been talking with them about a year or so to help work out all the hiccups prior to the process. And one of the things I want to assure everybody, the city council is not interested in anything that's going to pollute.
Right.
We're assured that we're at 99.9% clean air coming
Right.
out of these things.
Because people had cancer concerns or something,
There
right?
are those concerns, and I know back in the days when I grew up, we had 7 operating sawmills cutting raw logs and teepee burners all over the place. I don't even know what a teepee burner is, but it was a huge, probably 40-foot tall metal, huge teepee, and you just threw the sawdust in and burned it all
Okay.
the time, round the clock.
Yeah.
And you had 7 of those running around all the time, and that wasn't the most efficient way to burn sawdust.
Right.
So we didn't really have any clean air rules back in those days, and I don't know how much or to that extension. All I know is it was not clean
Yeah.
exhaust. So we're after clean exhaust. We're not after creating any health problems at all, and we're going to be sharing some more information as it comes together. We had one little public workshop on it just as initial thing, and then we'll have some more soon to come as soon as the information becomes available. But their basic thing is they have a partnership with the investor, the gentleman from England, and then 2 local logging companies. So we have a 4-way partnership on property, and The loggers knew they could get this fuel out of the mountains, but they can't use it here.
Yeah.
So they kept looking for someone that could use it here efficiently and effectively.
Right.
And then this came about. So
Okay.
here we are. And I'd love to see that in operation before I leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to lower people's electricity bills?
Initially, to be lower the bills in terms of electric costs for our heavy commercial users, the cannery, the sawmill,
Okay.
the sand plant, our plastic bag manufacturers. So that keeps the jobs local.
Yeah.
And they're going to provide round-the-clock reliable power because that's where it's going to stay. For our individual homeowners, we have the Pioneer system coming in probably the late part of 2027.
Okay.
And that is a CCA that we've already grouped up with. And so each individual homeowner will be able to have a choice whether to pay for PG&E's power or pay for Pioneer's power.
Got it.
But you'll still get a PG&E bill. They will get to bill you for the transmission cost.
Right.
But the actual electric cost would be cheaper because it's a nonprofit.
Right.
And then you'll be able to choose that back and forth. And that's popular in Rockland and Roseville now currently.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that is another answer to the question the public has, talked to us many times. How can we, get our utility costs cheaper?
Right.
And that's a good example of that.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how this develops.
Yeah.
You got to keep me in the loop, and
I will. You bet.
we'll all
Happy to.
send some emails to FERC
All
or
right.
something if you want to
Oh
see
yeah,
benefits
please do.
for the
Please do.
city.
Say
Yeah.
the Oroville Project 21. Move the application along.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank you, Hayley.
Thanks for listening today. I decided to offer this podcast after enough of you let me know that you wanted a deeper dive into certain stories than you get on our TV broadcasts. We elect certain people to represent our voice, but who are they really? My hope is that this podcast answers that question. I love your feedback, and I want to know who you'd like to hear from next. Just fill out that comment section and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify.